there. I'm a little behind, so bear with me. Hey, Danny. Nice to see you. Michael's here. Hey, Michael. Toy Pups is here. Hey, Toy Pups. Great to see you guys. Give me a second. I'm just doing some breath work with a friend. I got a few things we need to set up real quick. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? And do you want to do some breath work tonight? Hey, Kat. Kat says, yogi, yogi, yogi. All right, I think I'm set up. Good to go. Danny says, had a cat. Danny says, had a cat. I don't know why I said that twice. One second. Danny says, Yogi, I hope you had a great day. I had a pretty good day. I saw a lot of deer today, a lot of bucks. I've been seeing a lot of bucks lately. Really, really big racks too, surprisingly large. And the velvet is coming off. I have not seen a beaver. I haven't seen a fox. I've been bereft of beaver and fox. I haven't seen an owl in a couple of days either. But plenty of deer. I'll take what I can get. Here's the key with nature videography. It's a fancy word for taking videos. You don't have to do much. It's nice to have great equipment. I'll be honest with you. I think great equipment would overwhelm me. I'm not a technical person. I've mastered the microwave and a toaster. That's good enough for me. Anything more technical than an envelope, or for you fancy people, an envelope. Goldie's here. Goldie says, hi to lovely people. Going to sleep. Leaving this plane. Thank you so much, Goldie. Hopefully we will connect tomorrow. Danny waves at Vamps. So I could probably, well, not right now. I couldn't afford it, but one day invest in some fancier filming equipment. It wouldn't do me any better. For one, I think the magic is in nature itself. That's fine, Goldie. Goldie says, Eric, my daughter needed my attention. Perfectly understood. So we will talk tomorrow. Gotcha. Let's see. Luis, right? Luis. Game Cool. Welcome, my friend. Hey, Lucy. Anyway, nature does all the work. Show up, be patient, and let nature show you. That's my secret to nature videography. That is a word, right? Sorry. All right. Bam says, have fun, lovely people. Everyone's saying hi. If our friend, I don't want to suggest early breath work unless or until our friend Jessica comes in, because I don't want to do breath work without her. I can always do breath work again, but I enjoy doing it with her. Toy Pups, are you still here? How did the rest of your live stream go? Did you reach your goal? And Kat, how was your day? Hey, Kat, did you learn anything interesting today? Like, did you learn anything about, I don't know, domestic fowl? Did you learn anything about, I don't know, like different type of triracial uh, groups that might live in your local area. Just wondering. It's important to learn something important and useful once a day, in my view. What have you guys learned today? Lucy, what one important thing? Danny, what one important thing did you learn today? I learned that chickens take baths in dirt and that turkeys cannot drown by looking up. That's good stuff to know. How did I get to be 60 years old without knowing that stuff? Why has my Catholic school education not informed me on these important details? This is trying to think. Lucy, did you know that about chickens? You know, I've spent plenty of time on a farm too. Kat says, the man I met today knows all of the property around me and was kind folk to everyone as far as I can see. That's awesome. Hey, Kat, how close is your nearest neighbor? My dad's father briefly had a farm. He was not a very good farmer. Didn't enjoy it. Um, he enjoyed hunting. He was a guide. He became the first forest ranger of Wyoming State Forest. Wyoming State Forest is not in Wyoming, although I bet you there is a Wyoming State Forest in Wyoming. The Wyoming State Forest that I'm referring to is in north central Pennsylvania. There's nothing there back then, nothing there now. So the farm didn't last for long, and my father went back to being a forest. My grandfather went back to being a forest ranger. What kind of farm did your dad grow up on, Lucy? Kat, you had a lot of difficulty with your driveway like late last winter. PC says MFS has other interests and flirts with other girls. That's what I learned. I'm sorry you learned that. Well, I'm sorry, and I'm also not sorry because I'm glad that you learned it before you got hurt. You know what I mean? If it's not Anthony, I'm married to Jesus. I will always be a good friend of his regardless. Kat says, my closest neighbor is 2 acres away, and she talks very loud, but she loves cats. So I love her. You gotta love someone who loves cats and dogs. Who was I talking to about dogs today? I don't remember. It's important to have some type of dog influence in your life, which I don't right now, but I should. I need to fix that. Hey, Big Al. Big Al says, hi, I won't be in streams for a while. My own content upload may be slow. I'm going through some things and keeping away from YouTube and people in general for a while. Love you all. Take care. Big Al, do you want to talk about it? I know that sounds like the opposite of what you just said. Sometimes I can do this too. Sometimes we think we need to self isolate in order to get through something. And as you said, you're going through something. That's not always the case. Not when you have friends available, Big Al. Not when you have people who care about you. Jesus says Jesus is a perfect cockblock. But you think that's what Jesus might want from you? Cat says, agreed. Glad you found out now. Well, you're we're still going slow, Lucy. Yes. Lucy's laughing. Hey, Adam. Adam says, hello, everyone. I might have to get immediately. Waiting on a dishwasher. What do you mean? You getting one delivered? Is someone coming over to your house to wash your dishes for you? That would be pretty awesome. Although I really don't mind washing dishes. I was a dishwasher for a while and I really enjoyed that. I often think if I need to go back to work, I've been thinking about the Instacart shopper, not a delivery, but shopper or a dishwasher. Big guy says, no thanks, Yogi. Well, I appreciate the offer. I prefer not to talk about it here. Thank you for your offer, though. I don't remember if you have a WhatsApp or not. If you need to reach out and talk, we can do it privately. Just be just with a friend. Big guy says, hey, Danny, sorry, I'm not ignoring you. Adam's waving at everyone. Kat says, Big Al, uh, maybe being around people who love and support you would be good for you. Kat says, I miss me some Big L and the construction of Yogi Town. It's been a while since we've worked in the town, hasn't it? Oh, gotcha. Installing it for my non-landlord. Then he says, Big Al, the Englishman, you good? Lucy said, Big Al says, those people are the problem, Cat. I'm staying away from family for the time being. Well, we're with you, Big Al. You know what? Even if you don't make it here and do what you need to do, but we're here with you. We're sending you, regardless of what you're going through, we're sending you love. Or maybe particularly because of what you're going through. Lucy says, thank you, Kat. Anthony really is a good person. I don't want people to think he isn't. He's always my dearest friend. We both technically are single, so I can't be mad at him. Gotcha. Michael says, sorry for lurking. That's okay. I was eating some dinner. What's for dinner, Michael? Adam says, say, Yogi, I downloaded what app and left my phone number in your emails. Gotcha. I will look you up. Chris says, I am lurking also, making videos. Chris, how are you? Kat, or I'm sorry, Chris, Kat and I thought of a couple of different songs, TV theme songs. Kat says, laugh out, Yogi. Yogi, I was thinking French Maid. Oh, coming over to wash dishes over at Adams, or a job, or a job for me. Big Al says, thanks, Yogi. You're welcome, Big Al. Just know, no matter what, just know that we love you, Big Al. Chris says, hi, Danny, and everyone. Chris, I mentioned WKRP in Cincinnati. Yep, I got you covered, Kat. I can, not always, but normally I can pick out when there's a accidental. Kat says, thank you for correcting my talk to text mistakes, Yogi. Probably 95% I can pick up on them. Yeah, that was a great show. I was talking to Kat about the turkey episode, the Thanksgiving episode. Hey, Adam, what are your views on Van Morrison? That's not a big leap. Let's see. Chris says fish, cat, and anyone I missed. At first, I was wondering why you were naming species. I'm like, why is nature dog one species naming other species? Fish, cats, porcupines. Hey, Cece, what's up? So we were talking about WKRP Cincinnati, and then I mentioned Van Morrison. There's a connection. I watched an episode this was in 1978, probably 13 years old, and Dr. Johnny Fever was in the DJ booth. He was listening to Caravan, Van Morrison Caravan, music from the Big Pink. If you guys ever watched that video, Van Morrison is singing a version of Caravan, and he just amazing performance. Saw him in concert twice. I love the line, "I'm going down that old man with the transistor radio." I love the whole song. Anyway, Jack to Donnie Fever was listening to it, and he was just totally entranced by the song, dancing as he was sitting, and I had to figure out who that was. Been a Van Morrison fan ever since. Lucy says, "I don't have enemies, just people I don't vibe with." That's what I call it. I like that, Lucy. I like that translation. Van Morrison's underrated as a songwriter. I mean, he's got an awesome voice, but man, Into the Mystic. Is there a sweeter song than Two Below Honey? A more romantic song than Two Below Honey? I would not even dare attempt on a song night to sing Van Morrison. Hey, JR. JR says, Trending TV did a great drawing of me, made my day. Hey, that means you're in. You're in the crowd, you're in the club. The burpee community has opened its arms. If you get drawn by trending, it's a big deal. JR says, how are you, Yogi? I'm good. I'm debating if I'm going to go live tomorrow for my workout or not. You guys had enough of me in kettlebells yet? Oh, Kat says, does this all end with you being best friends, just Facebook friends? We've exchanged messages. She's liked my writing with Van Morrison's ex-wife. I totally forgot. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Kat. I am friends, not best friends, but I am friends with Van Morrison's ex-wife. Thank you for that setup, Kat. I could tell you I was not going to slide that in. And I know for a fact that you probably will not believe me. That whole conversation was not to set me up with me being friends with Van Morrison's ex-wife, which is actually a true fact. I am friends with Van Morrison's ex-wife, as well as Bob Weir's sister. Bob Weir, rhythm guitar player for the Grateful Dead. And I actually partied with Jerry Garcia's daughter before. I'm not saying I'm famous. I'm just saying I know famous people. I think I'm actually more proud. I'm Facebook friends with Dick York, the original Darren's son, Chris York. What do you think of that? He's a nice guy. Adam says, what kind of nerd? I'm too impressed by technical skill. Love Kim Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I'm not a huge King Crimson fan. I do like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. But you and I agree on one thing. I don't know if you would consider Moody Blues progressive rock, but they were the They started it off. Love the Moody Blues. Maybe I'll try to sing a Moody Blues song. He wants to hear me sing I Am Butterfly Inagata Navita. I'll even do the drum solo without drums. Sniper says, lurking and driving for a bit. Safe driving, Sniper. Hey, sissy. Lucy says, I try to be friends with everyone, but some people just don't deserve it. It is best just to be friends with certain people. Yes, I'm open to everyone. I'm friendly with everyone. Then he says, I wonder where Jace, he might be eating mushy peas. If he's not eating mushy peas, he's probably asleep. Cat says, nope. JR saying hi to everyone. JR, how's your workouts going? Danny's Adam says, what's so cool about the burpee community? As I have yet to do a burpee. As yet. Have you started the Yogananda energizing exercises yet? 15 minutes. Chris says, yes, I would like to hear that. Inagata Navita? There's what, 6, 7 lines in the whole song? Adam says, well, I've got to throw in there, my aunt married Elvis Presley's first cousin. That's impressive. Hey, have we talked about Elvis? In certain circles, you bring up Elvis and people are like, no respect. He didn't write his own songs. People say he stole songs. He always gave credit where credit was due. That says, you're hilarious. Well, you have an aunt who married Elvis' first cousin. That's pretty famous. I don't know why I have a thing for obscure famous people. Adam says, I would definitely make it a point to see that. Which, well, Inagata Navita or the Moody Blues? Which Moody Blues? Kat says, I don't know what it is, but yes. Shirley says, go with now, Yogi. Where did that go? You'll forgive my absence? Absolutely. Absolutely. Please still Gilbert, I said hi, Shirley, if you're still here. One of the benefits of going live 3 times a day is no one should ever feel obligated to be here, with the exception of Kat. Other than that, everyone's free to come and go, because you know you're going to catch me some other time. Adam says, I got to run on the philosophy. Everyone deserves to be my friend, and if they irritate me, I just leave. Fair enough. Danny says, hi, Yogi and everyone. Can I please ask you to pray for me? I had an accident today and feeling like poop. Yes. Danny, prayers? Danny, we're ringing the bell for you, my friend. 3 times. This is a Tibetan prayer bell. Tibetan prayer bell. Hard for me to say. Hey, Jordan. Prayers, my friend Danny. She said some people make it impossible because I know they have bad intentions after I tried so hard to be friends with him. So just leave them blocked. Several people actually that are blocked, that are like that on me. What I'm going to say to that, Lucy, I am sorry that you had those experiences. You deserve better. Um, you're truly, truly good person, Lucy, and you deserve the best. And you deserve to be treated with nothing but love and respect. Adam says, "Yeah, yoga did it poorly one time. It's going to take a few times to get used to it." Uh, Elvis was a street guy. He was the first superstar to get chewed up by the media. You ever heard of the book The Impersonal Life? Forget the author's name, but it was originally billed as anonymous because he didn't want to draw any attention. It was a very early non-duality book. It's a wonderful book on man. I highly recommend it. A wonderful book. I just like using the term higher consciousness, as I tend to believe there's just consciousness itself, no higher, no lower. But there can be blocks to our awareness of aspects of consciousness. Anyway, The Personal Life is a book about consciousness and drawing to ourselves that which we desire. Early book on the law of attraction, really. Some people might not like it because it's steeped in the language of, it's almost like an early precursor to the Course in many ways. Elvis would buy boxes of the book and just hand it out to people. I agree. He was a sweet guy. Lisa says, Haggis, me and him had a falling out, but we got back together. He's actually the reason a bunch of my live streams got deleted, but I forgave him. Chris says, oh no, hope your recovery is quick, Danny. Yeah, I hope it's not serious, Danny. Adam says, my favorite Moody Blues album is The Search of the One Chord. I have to give that a listen. Danny says, I found an animal den of some sort. From personal experience, I can say the best way not to discover what type of animal might be living there is to stick your head in and look around. Don't do that. Then he says, lucky I didn't, thank God. Says, I'm okay, but could have died. Yes, luckily you didn't, thank God. I am thanking God for that, Danny. Thank you, Kat. Kat is sending prayers, Danny. Adam says, yes, Danny, may you heal amazingly fast, and so it is. Jared says, thank you for always going live out of your own time and helping people yogi. Respect. Thank you, JR. I appreciate that. So, JR, your training is going well? Hey, JR, what are your training goals? I don't think we've ever talked about that, have we? Danny says, anyway, I'm going to lie back down. If you want to say a little prayer for me, I would appreciate it. You got it, Danny. You got it. Danny says, and don't worry, you can't kill me that easily. I appreciate and love you all. Love you too, Danny. Lucy says, MJ and Venus, good people. I had him blocked now. I'm good friends with him. And Haggis, because of you, Eric, you taught me how to be more forgiving. Lucy, I think you have a very forgiving nature. You have an open heart. You're full of love. So I don't think that I really taught, but I think that our conversations, you were able to open up a bit more, maybe. I just see you as being so full of love. Chris says, pray for you, Danny. Love you. And Chris says, hello, other Danny. Back in the 90s, I was powerlifting. I bulked up to 220 pounds. Pretty big. I posted a photo of me at about 215 every so often. Anyway, I was big, really big. I'm about 5'9", so 220, 5'9" is a pretty big guy. I was strong. Not a great power lifter, but I was like one of the strongest people in my gym. The reason I'm telling you this story is because basically I was, hey, here comes Big Eric, Big Eric. I wasn't nicknamed Big Eric, but it was like a thing people would say when I'd walk in, there he is, Big Eric. Kind of nice to hear when you're young, you're trying to be big. Then I met a friend and I started hanging out with. His name is Eric. 6'6", about 270 pounds. So of course everyone instantly called him Big Eric, and they started calling me the smaller Eric, small Eric. It didn't work out to get 220 pounds to be called the smaller Eric. It was ridiculous. But there it is. Titles. What can you do? Lucy says, nothing. I try to be Eric. Thanks. A lot of it comes real easy, Lucy. I always see you. I always see you open up. Adam wants to know what happened. Jara says, my goals are to train calisthenics, be able to do front levers, handstands, all the stuff, body control. I noticed with your pull-ups that you are very, very controlled. I want to try a lot of workouts. I'm also trying to step back and structure my thoughts of what way to go. Here's what I found a long time ago doing skill work. Calisthenics skill work. I was working on parallel bars for a while, a couple years ago. I haven't in a very long time. It wasn't all that great with them, but I love doing them. You can definitely put on a lot of muscle doing that kind of skill work. A lot of time and attention. But with skill work, volume works, but the practice is key. Practice every day, you get good at it. Just don't overdo the volume. If you want to get bigger, time and attention, which you'll get through the practice of that. I would pick one goal and work with it for a specific length of time until that you feel, if not mastered, you're as proficient as you want to be at this time. And then you put that on the back burner. You still practice it, but then you get your next goal and you practice that until that you feel that you're satisfied with that. And then you can keep evolving or revolving all of those. Kat said, what did Kat say? Yoga, you taught her by reminding her who she is. She is Mofo Princess. She is definitely the Mofo Princess. 100%. Kat says, hey, Yogi, do you know what energy vampires are? I do not. What do you know about that, Kat? Nisi says, you really didn't know me back then? I was so not into giving people second chances. Now I have more patience with people. Well, you know what? I think we are all evolving into who we actually are. Danny says, I got knocked off my bike by a person doing 20. Wow. They flew headfirst against a lamppost. Were you wearing a helmet, Danny? Hey, Runner Boy. Runner Boy says, finally edited my hike video. You got it uploading now? You want to drop a link for it, Runner Boy? Lucy says, she is the mofo princess. Never doubt it. Lucy says, and don't forget it. Michael says, I think I'll stick with extreme hiking, even though it's kicking my butt. But it'll get easier for you. Kat says, oh my God, Danny, where were you going? You were stopped. You were stopped from doing something? Michael hasn't done any extreme hiking in over 2 years. Now I've done it about a week worth of filming and hiking. I'm glad that you're out there doing it, Michael. Runner Boy says, Danny, remember practice safe lifting. Always use a flared base. Good advice. Random advice. Good advice. Jared says, Yogi, what were your goals when you started working out? And what have you achieved? I'm interested. You have a lot of knowledge. When I started working out early, it was because the first thing I ever did was a bull worker, which was an isometric chest expander pusher, and I wanted to be able to close the whole thing. So I did that, and I was maybe 10 or 11 years old. And then the branch director of the YMCA took an interest and had me doing body weight stuff, just the basic stuff at the time, toe touches, squats, push-ups. We went trail running. I got in pretty good shape. He also introduced me to weightlifting, and I took to it. And my goal as a kid, through all of my years, was to be a bodybuilder. All I wanted to do. I wanted to compete. I signed up at 16 for Teenage Mr. Baltimore, Teenage Mr. Annapolis. Chickened out. I loved the training for it. I didn't even mind the dieting, but I could not get up in the Speedos, in the posing trunks. Could not. I was so shy back then that the thought of it, literally, as I started getting closer, I started getting almost sick to my stomach. So I still trained for it, but I didn't think I would ever compete. And then in my 20s, I started powerlifting. Well, actually, in my late teens, I started rock climbing and long distance backpacking. So I went back to doing a lot of bodyweight stuff, and I was doing Nautilus, that one set to failure. In my 20s, I got back into bodybuilding, but then shifted to powerlifting. In my 30s, I shifted to Olympic lifting, training for martial arts as well. And then kettlebell sport, and then ultra running for 11 years, and now back to kettlebell sport. Kat says, I don't know anything, that's why I asked you. But how about we explore that together, Kat? Danny says, I got a CT head done, and luckily no TBI. Being the idiot that I am, I was not wearing a helmet. Luckily, my cranium is so strong that I didn't have any FX. I'm glad no damage. One of us going to upload tomorrow. So for a long time, Danny, my goal was always to get big. Then it shifted to get strong above just getting big. And then it shifted towards more strength endurance, which is what kettlebells is all about. Danny says, good night, Yogi. Good night, Danny. I will see you tomorrow, I hope, Danny. Kat says bye to Danny. We got some unicorn vibes. Sniper says, Danny, Cosmic ordered swift recovery. Adam says, energy vampires are typically known for leaving a person drained when they have an encounter with them. Kat says, but is there something else, a direction you were moving in life in general? Danny says, thank you, Cypher, and everyone else. I'm a bit shocked that I almost died and that I am not used to having been in combat. But that was some time ago. Kat says, thank you, Adam. I knew somebody would. So is that what you were thinking about, Kat? Cypher says, energy vampires come in many forms. Danny says, are you talking about the other Danny? Jared says, thank you for that, Yogi, and explaining in detail. You've always been active your whole life? Yes. What's the best thing you enjoyed? You got the benefits from personally working out. Kettlebell sport. Because training through kettlebell sport has left me prepared for almost anything else that I do. When I was ready to ultra run, because of the training that I had done with the kettlebells, it took me about 2 months to go from running 1 or 2 miles every few days, maximum of 3 miles, to doing a tough mountain 50K and getting a decent time. Did my first 50K in about 5 hours and 40 seconds. It left me ready for martial arts, left me ready for virtually anything else that I did. It's a tough sport, though. Kat says, no, you friend, head-on type of accidents usually, where'd that go? Have meaning if you're into that type of perception. Danny, I like your goals. Danny says, really tell me more. Adam says, Sniper, I like to call a special type of energy vampire a time-sucking vortex. So I would imagine that you could energetically seal yourself off from losing energy. Hey, Danny. Hey, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you. Michael says, solo streaming is brand new to me. Are you starting to like it, Michael? Cat's laughing, says Adam. It had nothing to do with you, friend. It was just a phrase that came to me based on a early conversation with Yogi, and I wasn't sure if the meaning was what I thought it was. Joe says, what type of martial arts did you train, Yogi? Early on, as a kid, I did Shotokan karate, not for very long. Then for several years, I practiced Taekwondo. I enjoyed that, and this was before it got like super big. So it was more traditional. It wasn't nowadays. It seems that Taekwondo is geared towards kickboxing, or at least it seems that way. And then I got into Kempo karate, which I really liked. And then one day I watched the very first UFC, and I watched the Kempo karate fighter get taken to the ground and dominated and choked out in a matter of minutes, if even minutes. And I realized I need to do some ground fighting. I need to learn what to do when I'm on the ground, even though I wrestled just a bit in high school, just long enough to eventually get kicked out of school and have to quit the team. So I did judo for a long time, a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I was training at a school that had all kinds of things. It had judo, it had jiu-jitsu, it had kali, it had Muay Thai. So we would cross-train a little bit of everything. I've done a little bit of Wing Chun. My favorite thing I've done was target focus training from a Navy SEAL instructor. The best I've done, brown belt in judo. Um, Orange belt in Kempo karate. The other stuff didn't have belts, and it was just cross training stuff. Oh, that's not true. Um, I got a green belt in Taekwondo, but I never stuck around in one form long enough to like master it. I just like doing it. I didn't care about how good I got. You do any martial arts, Jr.? Adam says, in his old age, don't hang out with vampires uh, or toxic anything. Cat says, Danny, I can't tell you the meaning. You have to decipher that part. Danny says, Cat, but how? We get a hypnosis session. Sapper says they often operate by inducing strong emotional reactions or prolonged engagement who unconsciously or consciously drain the vital life force, prana, chi, from others, leaving them feel depleted. Adam says, Cat, I swear I never took it personally. I don't know if I believe in energy vampires. Michael says, kind of, sort of, I've run out of stuff to talk about after a round of 10 minutes. Hey, Michael, practice stream of conscious. I never know what I'm going to say from 1 minute to the next. I was talking to Kat about that earlier. I, you think if I was planning to talk about spatulas, that I could literally talk about spatulas for 30 minutes? Or geese? Or any of the numerous topics that we find ourselves talking about? Of course, you guys bring that out in me and encourage it. You guys encourage my bad behavior. Unicorn vibes. Thank you, Lucy. Danny says, who would you recommend, Kat? Adam says, I'm more aware of what I'm drawn into. That's the demon I have to fight. Hey, Adam, do you feel like you're fighting demons? Zipper says, Fishy is correct by mirror their awareness. Danny says, I don't know anyone who does hypnosis. Kat says, but the truth, Danny, is you don't need anybody else. If you're into meditation, you can ask the question to get answers. It'll come from inside of you. Kat is spot on. Adam says, also, Danny, there is a repression test, test.com, which will take you to the Killer Bee Institute, which is really good for repressed emotion. I never heard of that. Emotional repression test.com, maybe. Danny says, interesting. Thank you all for sharing this information. I had no idea. And remember, this is all make believe. There you go. I think I blinked out for a second. Adam, I love that answer. There is a solution to it all. Kat says, good one, Adam. It all comes back to hierarchy of illusions for me. Why do I want to make a hierarchy within illusions? And an illusion is an illusion is an illusion. There's no difficulties of order in miracles. So whatever you find yourself, whatever situation, energy, vampire, or other, ask for a miracle, a shift in perception. However, we don't. The 50 Principles of Miracles says time should be devoted each day in the practice of miracles. I am a lifelong seems, practitioner of A Course in Miracles, and I don't think I'm proficient at asking for miracles every day. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Therapist says, so being that a person can subconscious be an energy vampire, it's best to pay attention. Gotcha. Adam says, thanks, Kat. Danny says, I think the best fighting style for a competition is Muay Thai, and for self-defense, Krav Maga. I wonder about Krav Maga. What do you think of just plain old boxing for self-defense? JR says, did you see my message, Yogi? I did not. Sorry, JR. There it is. I love UFC, Yogi. I did kickboxing in high school and sub wrestling. I want to get back into it. I just do bag work mainly now. Who do you think will win, Max Holloway or Dustin Pryor? If you know them, I don't know them. I haven't watched UFC or any MMA in quite some time. I enjoyed it quite a bit in the early days. I love the style versus style, but now they don't really have styles. Now it's MMA. It might have like influence, but you don't see anyone who's a traditional taekwondo. You don't see someone who is a judoka going like into matches anymore. They might have a background in that, but then they study MMA as its own art form. But there's something missing from that. It's just fighting. If you practice taekwondo, you have kata. You have a spiritual essence to kung fu. Kung fu started with the Shaolin monks. It actually started in India. Buddha Dharma left, disciple of the Buddha, left India to travel east. And he wanted to teach the monks how to defend themselves if needed, although they were steeped in ahimsa, which is non-harmfulness, the first foundation of yoga. So a Shaolin monk would only fight when absolutely necessary in defense of himself or his family. The same principles as Aikido. So I like martial arts that have an art form to them as well and have a spiritual aspect. Adam says, Sniper, I have a hard time not psychoanalyzing everyone I talk to. I watch their desires and their attention, and I go here and there seeking out a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. I think the issue I have with psychoanalyzing others is we're only ever going to be able to see our interpretation of others. The other day, Adam, you and I were talking about the Anthony DeMello quote, which I think he took from Krishnamurti, about putting a label on a bird, putting a label on a tree. Michael says, oh, Yogi, I gave you, Eric LaPointe, Bush Martinez, and the Bud Files a shout out in my community posts. Thanks for helping me to 83 subs. Thank you, Michael. It's always a pleasure to do anything I can to help you. You're one of the good ones. Kat said you did. I did? No, not me. Chris says, I love watching MMA and boxing. I used to love watching boxing too. I haven't in a long time. Michael says, only 17 subs away from 100. We need to get you to 100 by the end of the week. Cruising is fun. Anytime is here. My favorite cruising channel. Well, I say Cruising is Fun Anytime is my favorite, but there's some stiff competition with Jeremy and Cheryl. I don't know. Some days I'm all about Cruising is Fun. Other days I'm all about Jeremy and Cheryl. Chris says slow cruising. Danny says I do both MMA and boxing, which probably saved my life today. I like instinct wise. I tell you what, learning how to fall in judo has literally saved my life several times. Gotta remember to take my supplement, guys. Lucy says, "Hey, cruising." Chris says, "In my family, watching MMA and boxing was something we enjoyed. As a kid, I really enjoyed watching boxing, and you can see some great stuff. I watched Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks on TV, and Ken Norton actually." Adam says, "Hey, Danny, did you see my video where I got shocked by a quote taser? You made a couple of them. You made at least two of them, right?" Adam says, "With that said, Sniper, I have this problem psychoanalyzing everyone I talk to. It's an endless cycle." Sniper says, "Adam, embrace ambiguity." Give myself a B plus for saying that right. It's your ride, your simulation, your personal reflection, your dream desires. Learn to keep your skills. Know you have them. Danny says, "In my opinion, psychoanalysis is slow and cumbersome and not uh, indicated for anxiety disorders and only rarely helps with mood disorders." Interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know, Danny. Is it meant for anxiety and mood disorders? I thought psychoanalysis was more for um, the more deep-seated, depth psychology, the more deep-seated um, issues. Much of the course is based upon Freud's description of the ego, but it takes it a bit deeper. Ken Wapnick said that he thought one of the reasons why the course came about the time that it did was because it needed, thank you, Kat, because it needed um, Sigmund Freud and psychoanalysis. Not that that is related to the course, but it lays sort of a foundation that psychoanalysis is very good for, in yoga terms, it would be uncovering the mental imprints, the samskaras that we have, as well as the kleshas, the five afflictions of the mind in yoga and Buddhism. But for that stuff like anxiety and even PTSD, probably not. Psychosilium for that, my friends. I can't talk about that though, unfortunately. I would love to. Thank you again, Kat. Hey, Skits. Skits says, "Sup, Yokester brother. Sup, chat. Hope you all had a terrific Tuesday." I had a wonderful Tuesday. I did. I really did have a wonderful Tuesday. And thank you for making it so. How about you, Skits? Danny says, or Adam says, "Yeah, Danny, I find psychoanalysis just stirring the muck. Any psychologist worth his salt is into repression or body work, since the emotional body sits in the physical body." Also, I would like to add the cashews did better than Prozac. And a blind study put one cell a month of 20-minute meditation practice practically cures depression. I'd love to talk about that, my own experiences with depression and meditation. Danny says, "Of course, there are many forms of CBT, but that is the way to go. Quicker." Danny says, "Prozac is bad medication. Something that I can't pronounce is much better. I know my limits. I could have tried. I could have shot for it." Nope, I didn't go for it. I was like a pioneer looking at the Rocky Mountains and decided to go back to Pennsylvania. Let's get to the side of nature. Danny says Prozac. It's up. Oh, I read that. I'm not going to try it again. Uh, Adam says, Danny, I did a long video on my experience with medication. Uh, I'm like blanking on saying it. Psychiatrist. I wish you would check it out and respond and comment. Skid says, my day was okay, but now I have anxiety. I'll be all right. I caused it myself. In a way, I deal with it tomorrow. Anyway, so nothing to worry about. Glad you're wonderful, Yogi. You want to try some breathwork skits? Happy to do it if you want. I could talk about my own experience with anxiety, as well as anxiety with meditation, as well as depression with meditation. But right now, because Skits is talking about anxiety, Skits, what if you didn't cause your anxiety? What if you didn't cause it? Did you choose to particularly have thoughts? Have you ever chosen to have a thought, or thoughts just appear? So I wonder if you could give yourself a little space. I wonder if you could take it easy on yourself and just consider that you're not the cause. Skits. If you're not the cause, that also means you're not to blame. We got enough going on in life without blaming ourselves for our anxiety. Anxiety is bad enough without assigning guilt that we did it. I did this to myself. You did not cause your anxiety. Skits says, this guy continue a wonderful conversation. I'll deal with it. Hey, Skits, you're part of the wonderful conversation. Every single friend here is the conversation. Without you, nothing. Without you, it's just me staring at the screen. No one wants that. JR says, sing Mushy P. He would love it, Yogi. I would, JR. I've made a sacred vow. It's me against the mushy peas. If you ever come up with an unmushed pea song, I will sing it. I will not join in the mushing of anything. Not dogs, not peas, not potatoes. I hope Goldie didn't hear that. What did I miss, Kat? Kat says, well, I had to step in because we're missing people who have jobs. What do you mean? Skit says, thanks, Sierra. I just say I met some lads and arranged to meet them tomorrow, but I'm just nervous. I'll be okay. Kat, what did I miss? Adam says, I heard a CA guy talk about two different types of anxiety. One is worried about the future or freaking out, what just happened. The other is almost clairvoyant type of anxiety, readiness, springing. JR is laughing. Adam says, love all you guys. We love you too, Adam. Skip says these ads were a bit dodgy. If that makes sense, it is. Does. And they have two big dogs, but I'm still there to meet them because I'm a real person. Why do you want to meet him? Danny says he'll check it out. To Adam. Adam says, I mean that in a non-gender way. JR says, why are you meeting them, Skits? Do you know them, bro? Hey, Sherry. Sherry says, I'm new. Well, welcome, my friend. So, relating to my experience with depression and meditation, that I still go through depression. And I've been meditating for ever. And I teach meditation, supposedly for a living. But my depression has shifted. Hey, Anna, depression has shifted. I can't even say that I experience depression. I can say that depression happens and that I am aware of it when it's happening, distant from it. But I've been able to come to a point where I can befriend myself through depression, that I can love myself through depression, that I can recognize it, I can smile at it, I can hold it lightly, and know times might be hard. Some days more difficult than others, some moments very difficult. But I know that depression is a thing that happens and is not who I am. Kat says, and we all learn from each other's struggles. Yes. Yes, we do. So, we're a community, a sangha, a spiritual community. It says it's hard to explain. It might be an opportunity, either a risky one that makes sense. It does make sense. Is it worth it? Is any opportunity, if it comes with a risk of that type of harm, is it really an opportunity? There's a difference between an opportunity and a chance. An opportunity should be gentle. A chance can be all kinds of stuff. Skits, take care of yourself. Skits, I wish you knew how much we all loved you. It would cause me great harm if something happened to you, my friend. It would cause me great harm if something happened to you and I never knew about it. Jiro says, I understand, Skits Bro. Stay safe, whatever it is. Make sure it's in your best interest and you're comfortable, bro. Thank you, JR. Skits, nothing to forgive with you, my friend. You know we love you. Kat says, I had to step in as your pill reminder. I appreciate it. Someone had to do it. Kat stepped up. She saw a job needed to be taken. Just says, you can email anytime, Skits. It's in my bio. Adam says, Yogi, I'm curious, you said, or do you lack interest in doing anything? The last two symptoms are a sleep disorder and a dysfunctional consumer. Are you sad, or do you lack interest in doing anything? The last two symptoms are sleep disorder and dysfunctional consumer. It's a good question. Danny says, what is a pill reminder? Reminding me to take a pill. Life is heavy. I don't know if I have a better way of describing it. Sometimes it'll manifest in sleep disorder. It's funny thinking about, do I lack interest? Because sometimes I don't even know if I notice when I'm going through that heaviness. Do I notice if I have a lack of interest or if I'm doing the things that I always do? There was a time, yes. There was definitely a time, yes. There was a time, hey, Mercy. Mercy says, hi, Eric, I love you. I love you too, Mercy. I hope you had a wonderful birthday. There was a time when it was a struggle to get to the gym. It was a struggle to open a book. There was a struggle to get outside and walk. I did all those things, not easily. It helped to have people. but even then, and I drank a lot, a lot. As my meditation deepened, things got lighter. Kat says it's a magical pill. It is a magical pill. Skid says, I won't do anything I'm uncomfortable with, brother. I would just show them around like a tour guide, but try to stay away from the possible activities they are now involved in. That makes sense. It does. You know, you never have to do something you don't want to, Skits. Ever. Thank you, Mercy. Jared says, I get you, Skits, no problem. Good workout with Jace yesterday. You're doing great. Kenny says, really, what does it do, Kat? Helps me go to sleep and stay asleep. Mercy says, I'm struggling to walk. Eric, what's going on, Mercy? Yep, Skits. Just remember, you never, ever have to do anything you don't want to do. It's never too late to say no. Legs are swollen. I'm sorry to hear that, Mercy. Are you doing anything to help right now? Lucy's sending unicorn vibes. Kat says, hey, Danny, are you reading that book yet? It's 1 milligram of melatonin. I wish I could have taken Benadryl today because I got either stung or bitten or stung and bitten, as is 2 marks by a ground wasp. Skid says, thanks, JR. I need to up my game by working out more frequently. First, he says, I'm getting old. But you are still vibrant and beautiful, my friend. And you sing like an angel. Adam says, I suffer from lack of interest in anything, and I'm addicted to my dreams. There's no effort in my dreams. I want coffee. I have coffee. Hey, Danny, have you been on a sustained path of meditation? Danny says, why are your legs swollen, Mercy? Kat says, now I wish I saw that comment. Kat says, I think I'm funny, but sometimes I might go too far. I like it when you go too far, Kat. You know, I'm going to ask you what that comment was. Adam says, Mercy, I like to think I'm just ripening. Me too. I'm still probably the oldest one here. Kat says he would have taken a good nap for sure, Yogi. Mercy said, Danny, wear and tear. I need a better nap tomorrow, that's for sure. Mercy says, Eric, I love you. I love you too, Mercy. I will try to come up and sing on one of your karaoke live streams. I can't ever find the link. I wanted to do it on your birthday. Hey, we'll be singing Friday. No music, just singing. Chris says, I try to go with the flow of the day. Chris says, depression, Danny, 45 milligrams of the highest dose taken since I was 19 and 34. Jared says, Skits, did you see what Trending Live did? Jimmy, it looks amazing. Bro, for real. Love it. Hey, are you going to use it as a thumbnail? Yeah, so you're going to see a doctor tomorrow, Mercy? So we're going to wrap things up in a minute or two, guys. Go to bed just a little early. Adam says, just curious, has anyone here ever forged? I wish I did. Danny says, Yogi, did you ask me if I have taken meds for a long period of time? No, I did not. I don't think I did. I don't recall doing it. JR says, didn't think of that. Yogi, great thumbnail idea. Mercy says, he used to be active doing hiking, running, gym, but now I'm all finished. I wonder if we can help get you back out there. Hey, if you get a chance, let us know. Hey, Mercy, are you on Facebook by any chance? Mike, how are you? Says he's doing better. I'm glad to hear that. It's nice to see you, my friend. I always appreciate when you come in, Mike. Mike, you're one of my favorite fishing channels. You're one of my favorite people. It says, JR, I know, bro, my 45 milligram, something else I can't pronounce. I probably could. So wipe me out as I rely on them to sleep at night. Adam says, I saw TED Talks that said um, depression typically is a communication calling for a change in self-inquiry. How did you feel about that, Adam? Mike says, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. You're welcome, Mike. Guys, I hope you subscribe to Mike, MVP Fishing. All right. I'm going to be wrapping up soon, so I don't want to get in too detailed. But I wonder, are we overly medicated, emotional wise? And if you are on antidepressants for 30 years, 40 years, what are you doing? What if we learn to relate to our thoughts better? And there is a better way of relating to our thoughts. What if we knew we were not, if we knew, not if we just thought or considered, if we actually knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are not the thinker of our thoughts, we are the witness, the observer to the thoughts. How much would that alleviate depression? For me, my own meditative experiences, um, and granted, I don't have depression to the point that Adam does. Never have. My mom did. I have taught meditation to people who much heavier depression than myself. And after a few years, they've pretty much said the same thing. Just lightened, just got lighter. They were able to carry it instead of being consumed by it. And that's the factor of when you become or recognize what you already are. When you recognize yourself as the witness, and at a certain point, even the witness fades away. Even the witness is a even the witness is part of the illusion. Nisargadatta Maharaj said that even, and he wrote the seminal classic I Am that even the great I Am, which is the first thought, Many have likened it to the very beginning of the mad idea presented in the Course, that I am, split from Brahma, split from the infinite, a finite thought. But even the I am is an important step to know yourself as that I am. But even the I am recedes back into the infinite, recedes back into Brahma. But when you know yourself as the witness, even for a little bit of time, or even getting a glimpse that it's so, it's hard to take the things that occur in life quite as personally. Doesn't mean that things that hurt don't hurt, but who are they hurting? In the absence of a self, who is hurting? There's just hurt. It's no longer personal. It's not me against life. It's just depression. It's not me against life. It's just anxiety. Adam says, Yogi, I hope you forage and remember not everyone can carry the weight of the world. REM. I should try to sing some REM. Hey, Adam, I hope you come up and sing with us on Friday. Hey, Adam, I don't know if you would remember Yule Gibbons. Who said in You Love Mercy? Here says, I don't take any tablets anymore. I have for ages. I don't like how they make you feel numb all the time. I hated it. Cut them out and face myself and thoughts to understand them and why. That takes a lot of bravery, JR. Self inquiry is the hardest form of yoga, probably. I like that, Adam. Yoga, I guess I believe any imbalance is calling for balance, and there's always a spiritual answer to any problem. Have you read the book by Wayne Dyer? There's a spiritual solution for every problem. There's a spiritual solution for everything. Mercy says 1 year now. Mercy, if you get the opportunity, let us know what your doctor says. So, one of the four paths of yoga, as presented by Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, is jnana yoga, the yoga of wisdom and self inquiry, in which you do exactly what JR did. You turn inwards. The fifth limb of yoga in Raja Yoga, one of those four paths, is called pratyahara, which means withdrawal of the senses. We're always outward focused. Everything we see, we hear, we touch, we taste, we smell, things that are out here. But yoga says, where is the recognition of every problem occurring? Every single problem is a thought. Doesn't mean it's not real, just means it's a thought. In the absence of that thought, in the absence of a thought of a problem being a problem, what would it be? All right, gonna give it about 5 minutes, guys, then I gotta wrap up. So it strikes me very interesting what JR said. Face himself and his thoughts to understand them and why. Dad, JR, you are a natural yogi. Mercy says, yes, I'm diabetic. Adam says, Skitch, funny thing, when I was chasing the ladies, I had all the drive in the world, antidepressants or no antidepressants. I was taking that crap for sadness and ended up in a psych ward. Thank you, Skits. So, guys, got to be a little careful with medical stuff. For the most part, YouTube does not approve of that. Joe says, Skits, I must say you did 500 squats after I did. That shows drive, bro. You put yourself and you show up with Jace. Keep going every day. You're funny, bro. Stay positive and focus on what you can control. Stay blessed, everyone. So I got to put out one more time. Got to be careful with medical stuff, guys. Even having a resident doctor, because it's just a small channel, I got to be careful with medical stuff. I mentioned before how much I would love to talk. I could have talk after talk on plant medicine, but YouTube would not allow it. I'd get in trouble. Danny says, I'm sorry, Yogi, I did not know that. Yeah, I could maybe, it would put up a disclaimer, but the disclaimer would be like, for entertainment purposes, and that would seem to like divert from the seriousness of it. Cass says the important thing is to talk about it. If you're having those thoughts and feelings, talk about it to a friend, to a neighbor, to a teacher, to a pastor, to your mom, to your dad. Tell somebody. Thank you, Kat. Mercy says, no, Danny, I hope not. Skit says, thanks, Danny, brother. I will inquire. Unfamiliar with the Wayne Dyer book. I'm not sure if I read the whole thing. Oh, you are familiar. Gotcha. I enjoyed it. I remember picking it up when it first came out. It's funny. I'm a big Wayne Dyer fan. And there was times when I thought that I had moved beyond Wayne Dyer, only to find out that, with that perennial wisdom, you never move past anything. Danny says, Mercy, if you see your GP, can you please ask him to look at BP? Skit says, yeah, I was inspired by your insane 700 weighted squat effort. Thanks for being the inspiration. I needed. You're a legend. Hey, I was watching that. And here's how I recall it, Skits. I recall it as you urging him on for that 700. That I don't think, am I wrong about this, JR? I don't think JR set out to do 700 squats. But with Skits in his corner, Mercy says, yes, Danny, I will. And do a BPN blood test. Skit says, you're a legend. Squirrel says, catch you at 5, Eric. Thank you, Sniper. All right, we're going to wrap things up. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Mercy, I hope your appointment goes well tomorrow. Come on by and sing with us on Friday. Danny says he is a MD, PhD, so I'm slightly better than your average GPA. Got unicorn vibes. All right, guys. I love you all. I'm going to bed. If you're around at 5 in the morning, if you're around at, I don't know, maybe Kat's going to sleep a little bit, but she will be live before me. Mercy says, thanks, Eric. You're welcome, Mercy. Love you, my friend. JR says, see you soon, everyone. See you, JR. Take care, guys.